Welcome back to Infamous, the complete story. So this time we're going to be going back into one of those comic book stories, but this presents a very good question. How do you feel about all of these extra stories in a universe that you enjoy, requiring the extra purchases like comic books? Do you like them or do you hate them? Let me know in the comments down below. When we last left off, Cole had successfully stopped Kessler and was trying to decide what to do next with his life. So what happened between Infamous 1 and 2? Well, we're going to break down the 6-issue comic series. The first issue pretty much just sets up the series. First, we find out who Moya really is. If you remember, she was the one who got Cole on the hunt for John, claiming to be his wife. Well, apparently, she was actually working for Kessler, and she helped fund his research. Moya also manages to capture Alden Tate so they can restrain him and dissect him and discover his powers. Over with Cole and Zeke, the two friends discuss the true nature of Kessler. We discover that exposure to the Ray Sphere unlocks new abilities each time. Wrapping up this issue, we also discover that exposure to the Ray Sphere apparently unlocks new abilities each time you're exposed. And there just so happens to be a man named David who was exposed over 11 times. Well, this man full of over 11 powers breaks out of his confinement and decides that Cole must be Kessler in disguise, and he wants his revenge. In issue 2, we jump to the 25th day of the quarantine, and Moya is planning to invade Empire City and capture Cole. Since she already has Alden in custody, she plans to go forward and capture Sasha, which they do, and they extract her ability for future use against Cole. Back with Cole, Cole is trying to figure out just who he is. Since Kessler was evil, and Cole lost everything to the evil version of himself, who is he now? We learn that the whole time Zeke was with Kessler, he was actually locked in a room where Kessler would simply stumble in drunk sometimes. What he was basically trying to tell Cole is that Kessler was just a guy, nothing special, and he doesn't control the direction that Cole takes his life. Before their talk can go any further though, a missile attack hits the Warrens, and Cole tells Zeke to warn everybody. Over in the neon portion of the city, David begins laying waste to the invading army, and he gives his family a proper send-off as they died while he was gone during the riots. David then walks further into the city, and he determines to get his revenge against Cole. This issue closes with Moya calling Cole to tell him she's serious, and he better just come out of hiding. In issue 3, we find Cole debating if he should just turn himself in to end all of this. But David answers that question for Cole, and he attacks the nearby police station that Moya has set her base up in. David and Cole start up an epic superpowered battle, but it's Moya who puts an end to it by dropping bombs on the building, burying David in the rubble. Cole runs off to meet up with Zeke at their apartment, but Zeke informs Cole that while he was saved by Moya, the creature that attacked Cole is still down there, clawing to get out and keep trying to kill Cole. Over at the docks, Moya explains the situation that they have with David to the general. She explains that in the end, David was blasted over 30 times with the Ray Sphere, and one of his main powers is to drain neuroelectricity to survive. His other power that seems to be a problem is the fact that he can smell people of a certain genetic level. Since this is the situation, and David is chasing Cole, they decide that they need to get Cole out of the city, but since they can't capture him, they'll have to attack him at his heart. Issue 4 is filled mostly with flashbacks. Cole is trying to cope with the fact that Trish is dead, and he's having weird nightmares about Kessler. When he wakes up, he sees Trish blaming him for her death. Not sure while he's still seeing her, he assumes that he's finally just snapped. But then Sasha talks to him telepathically, and she explains that this is Moya's men using the powers that they took from Sasha. He can't seem to shake it off, and he jumps out the window, knocking himself out. In issue 5, Moya starts trying to convince Cole to work for the military, basically telling him that if he doesn't, they'll put a device in his head so he'll have to do it even if he doesn't want to. Back over at the Warrens, Zeke and a group of policemen begin to make a move to try and save Cole, because as he knocked himself out jumping out the window, we can already kind of put it together that Moya captured him. At the harbor, David finally gets back on his feet, and he can sense that Cole is alone and cornered. A lot of things go on at this point, with Sasha breaking free to save Cole, David jumping in and killing random guards, and Zeke's group of men trying to save Cole while they take fire from the guards. Cole tries to run off, but David just keeps chasing him. Loads of destruction and mayhem happen, and once David finally gets his hands on Cole, he begins to beat Cole to death. But luckily, they're interrupted by 3 military conduits. Looks like the military has been experimenting with a few superpowered individuals themselves. Cole looks at David and he simply says, "Looks like you pissed off the wrong people." In our final issue, Sasha and Moya begin to go at it while David is attacking the military conduits. Zeke rushes in and helps Cole get away by simply asking Cole, "What are those things?" And Cole simply says, "They look like something that Moya cooked up." The soldiers arrive to help Moya against Sasha, but Sasha runs off to fight another day, and Cole decides that he's had enough walking. He walked away from way too much. It is time for him to personally end this. Cole goes to town on David, cutting off his arm and using jet fuel to light him on fire. But eventually, Cole has to use Lightning Storm to finish off David. The ship begins to go down from all of the destruction going on, and Moya is about to take the fall for everything that went wrong in the city since the military conduits were her decision. Cole tries to save her as the ship is sinking, but she tells him that there isn't any time, and Cole manages to get off the boat, leaving her to die. Things end with the news reporting that the quarantine is still in effect until an undetermined amount of time. They just can't trust letting the residents of the city go loose, as this city has things that are so powerful they can destroy the ship. Zeke asks if David is still alive, and Cole simply responds, "I sure hope not." Cole then gets a phone call from Lucy Cow telling him they need to talk. And that ends the comic book interlude. I think it's time to move on to Infamous 2. What do you guys think? Well, with that, I'm Infected Crow for Eligible Monster. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys next time.